Don Tapscott, best-selling author. In 2007, you came out with Wikinomics, which was the best-selling business book of the year. You've just come out with a new book, MacroWikinomics. And I'm curious, Don, how did we get from Wikinomics to MacroWikinomics in 3 years?
Well, Wikinomics, Andrew, was about the corporation. And we argued that the internet is not about websites. It's a global platform that radically drops transaction and collaboration costs. And this is leading to a change in the deep structure and architecture of the firm and how we orchestrate capability to innovate, to create goods and services. And then after the book came out, of course, we had the global financial meltdown. And Anthony Williams, my co-author, and I started looking at what was going on and what this means. And we saw that it was affecting a whole set of institutions in society. And we came to the conclusion that the industrial economy has finally run out of gas, that we're not just in a slump. We're at a turning point in history where many of the institutions that have served us well for decades or even centuries are now unable to. They are stalled or in atrophy or even failing. And that if we need to move, in order to move forward, we're going to need to rebuild these institutions around a whole new open network model, embracing a new set of principles. So Wikinomics was about the corporation. I suppose MacroWikinomics is about civilization.
So, Don, you certainly are not underestimating the task of this book. But I need to call you on this because you're saying something of enormous significance. You're throwing a massive bomb. In the book, you say, let's face it, the world is broken. What exactly do you mean by that? What is broken?
Well, if you look around at the institutions of industrial society today, they're failing. I was just being interviewed by a journalist who said, Don, how do you know things will just not get back to normal? Now, there's an argument, the Paul Krugman argument, that after a financial meltdown like this, it's 2 decades easily. Japan is still working on fixing their economy, even though the meltdown was in '92. But if you look at it from the point of view of various institutions, you see a different picture. Look around. The media. Newspapers are collapsing. 70 have gone bankrupt in this decade. And yeah, advertising revenues are down 1/3, and industry executives say, well, it's a cyclical thing. Well, no, it's not. It's a secular change that's underway. And you can see that in a whole bunch of different industries and parts of our economy. The financial services industry, to me, needs a lot more than some new regulation. It needs a whole new modus operandi based on integrity and on transparency and on collaboration and on a comprehension that the purpose of a bank is not to make its shareholders and managers rich. The banks exist in modern society to perform a certain function, and we give them a license to do that. Universities, Andrew, I'm convinced the smartest kids don't go to lectures. The big thing is to get an A without having ever gone to the lecture. So when the cream of the crop of an entire generation is boycotting the formal model of pedagogy, the writing's on the wall. The university is losing its monopoly on higher learning. And the problem is that, it's the very best model of higher education that 17th century technology can provide. So whether it's healthcare, our systems for global problem solving can't solve problems. We've got an old energy grid and an old model of transportation. Our governments are failing. Democracy. All of these are the old industrial model. It's a one-to-many broadcast model. Mass education, mass media, mass production, mass distribution. And I think that tinkering with these is not going to solve our problems. We need to buckle down and to start to make some fundamental change. And MacroWikinomics is not a depressing story. It's about all the amazing, sparkling new initiatives that are happening, that are underway right now, where you can see the contours of a new model emerging.